Welcome back. Woo! Episode 2. Thanks for tuning in with me, Nick, on the weekly review. Today we have a brand new episode. We're going to talk about AI. And on this episode, it's going to be a little more along the tone of being a little more eerie and like weird and woes and, more serious than the last one we did, which was fun and over the top on Jim Carrey. So, Elon Musk. Love him or hate him, this guy has contributed massively to AI behind the scenes. He's been very involved and very vocal about it, and had a lot of hands-on and stuff. So he had a interview recently that he made some interesting comments that went viral, and I want to break that down and talk about that. So we're gonna get into this and watch the clip and yeah, break it down. I'd love to see what you guys think about this and what your perspective is on it. So let's get into the clip. All right, so here's a clip. We're gonna watch this, and man, just this is some eerie stuff. So just check this out.
Recommendation I have is don't worry about squirreling money away for retirement in 10 or 20 years. It won't matter.
No.
Okay.
Either we're not going to be here, or
It just it's you won't need to save for retirement. If any of the things that we've said are true, saving for retirement will be irrelevant.
the services will be there to support you. You'll have the home, you'll have the healthcare, you'll have the entertainment.
Don't even worry about saving for retirement, Elon says. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. This is wild. I mean, what the kind of times we're in. And so let's break this down. This is a recent interview that Elon had about the future of work, money, retirement in the age of AI, right? And basically, his whole vision is this future that's driven by AI, robotics, and mass technological growth. So AI and automation is going to make production so efficient that goods and services are basically super cheap and overly abundant. And there's going to be this universal high income that could be for everybody, for the average regular person like you and I, all the way up to, billionaires. But and this has already been posed. There's this UBI, universal basic income, that's been talked about over the last decade. There's been certain politicians that have even pushed the idea and ran on this as a policy. So this is not new, but it only kind of exacerbates this idea when AI comes into the picture. So at least in Elon's head, that's kind of what he's alluding to. Now he thinks that basically retirement and savings is going to become irrelevant because AI and robots are going to totally change the landscape of the job market and industries and just work in general. People will be replaced in so many ways that robots are essentially going to be doing the work. And there's going to become this sort of abundant economy where money changes. It's not going to be used or looked at the same way that we do today. Things will be looking rather different in, his kind of view of the next 10 to 20 years. And perhaps the most odd and strange view that Elon kind of has adopted is that he thinks that robots and AI are essentially going to even go beyond the intelligent humans, and the way that society exists and looks today with human activity engagement is going to be so different in the next decade or two. So there's this post-apocalyptic kind of, if you've seen those sci-fi movies, it's almost like moving into something more like that. We're living in the Matrix more than we ever were, kind of thing. Now, I'm not one that like hates or really dislikes Elon. I think he has done some great things for the broader community in our country as a whole, in the USA, globally even. So he's contributed in great ways, but I don't just buy into anything he says. Like this one, and for example, I think has earned some controversy and critique and some concern from the broader public and even myself. So, number one, there have been decades of financial analysts who have like looked at markets and stocks and the rise and fall of all that kind of thing, and have made lots of predictions. So I think that we shouldn't just throw that away because there is some value in it, and to totally think it has no warrant in this anymore because AI is gonna totally change everything, I think is really probably an exaggeration, really. So the financial advice out there is still relevant, still matters, and it's going to stay relevant for the next 10, 20 years. I would be very hesitant to just throw that out. And the second thing that I wonder is, from Elon's perspective, and anyone that really would take this perspective of AI just totally changing everything and making everything we know, or like a lot of what we know today, irrelevant, has bought into the idea that it's very optimistic, like that AI is working at its best and it's best for humanity and it's going to do good and that kind of thing. And that, I think, in and of itself is kind of debatable. And I'm not going to get into the nitty grittiness of that, at least not in this video. But, there is a level of optimism that might be exaggerated with this view. There's no guarantee that AI will benefit humanity in the kind of way that they are subscribing to. And so again, I would just caution anyone on this sort of path to think twice about it. Now, last but not least, the last point that comes to mind is, as a Christian, God still reigns. He is sovereign, meaning he's in total control, complete control. There's nothing that can stay his hand. And in the Psalms, we see like, verbiage that talks about the heart of a king being turned which way like a river flows, to and fro. So again, I'm very hesitant and slow to just adopt this kind of idea that AI is good and that it's absolutely the future. I would even say that people forget that it's possible that in the next 10 years humanity as a whole could reject this, saying this is not good for us and we don't want this. We've seen this kind of thing in history arise. People reject kings and then they install sort of like a parliament or democracy in a different way from the monarchy. Just to use an example, there's no guarantee that in the next 10 to 20 years that we're going to end up in this sort of landscape. So God's in control. Trust in him. Put your faith in him. Continue to put money into retirement and savings. It's still important and it's going to be important. And saving in general is like really a good thing. For example, the fact that me and my wife had savings to be able to live on for a few months, in the fact that I'm gone through this job loss, has been tremendous and helpful. So don't ever think that you should stop saving. Always be saving money. It's very important, and be wise and prudent. The Bible says as much. So with all that, I would love to hear your guys' perspective. Please comment below and let me know what you think about this. Stay tuned for more videos, new content, and if you made it through the whole video, thank you. I appreciate it. Take care. God bless.